Hey everybody, and welcome to my Ultimate Survival Forever World Let's Play Episode 1. This world is over 5 years old, and I've finally decided to reveal my progress. Every block that you're about to see was placed in survival, no cheats, no shortcuts, just time and effort. And believe it or not, this is just my starter base. So if you'd like to see more, don't forget to subscribe. I have a lot more to show you, including other epic builds, current projects, and you definitely won't want to miss out when I reveal my super secret future plans for this world. Rest assured, this is just the beginning. So today, we're starting at the heart of a 5-year survival world. Welcome to my forever village. Okay, so this right here is where everything started. This was my original starter house. As you can see, it's sort of a barn with a watchtower attached. It's nothing fancy, there was no master plan behind it. It's relatively small and simple, but that was the point. When you walk inside, it has all the basic necessities, including my master bedroom, which has a lovely green carpet and triple wide bed. It also showcases the first ever wooden pickaxe created in this world, as well as some dragon heads, some backup elytra, and some of my favorite goat horns. The house has a modest storage area, as well as a kitchen set up. It has a workshop downstairs, and it has a full level 30 enchanting setup located in the watchtower. Overall, I think this was a great starter house. It was the perfect inception piece to inspire the rest of the village, and I'm happy it set the tone for the rest of the world the way it did. Okay, moving on, right next door is the second structure that the village needed, an animal barn. And early survival, as you know, is basically just food logistics, so this barn became essential pretty fast. It also quickly became one of my favorite builds, as it established a new color palette which became a standard theme throughout the village. Overall, I love the scale of this build and especially how the roof turned out. And to this day, it's still where I get my steak. Okay, moving on across the street, the next thing that I needed to build was an automatic sugarcane farm. And this is when the goal emerged that every farm would be housed in its own building. Upon entering, you can take a ladder down to find the sugarcane storage area, or you could take the ladder up to the roof, which also acts as a workshop area. Once I built the second watchtower and warehouse attached to it, the village really started to take shape. At this point, I was more inspired and motivated than ever. I had a ton of ideas, but I wanted a way to plan them out. So the next structure that I erected was Town Hall. As you walk in from the upper floor, you're met with a glorious view of the docks and the ocean down the main street of the village. And downstairs, you will find a map of the area which provides a convenient bird's eye view for all future planning. From here, we'll make our way to my vine farm, which I consider to be one of the least attractive buildings in the village. It's also one of the earliest, and while I contemplated tearing it down, I thought it would be better to leave as a memento of where we began. As we continue down this street, we will find my sheep and wool farm. As you can see, it's another barn with a different color palette. It has a windmill out front as well as a silo out behind it. Inside, you will find sheep of every color, each of which are being automatically collected. Overall, I think this is a great build, but my one complaint is that I'm not sure the color palette really matches with the rest of the village. But that's just me. Let me know what you think down below. From here, we'll make our way down to what is one of the largest buildings in the village, the Colosseum. This is another one of my favorite projects because it's something that I've always wanted to build. Outside of the Colosseum, I built a market area with some storefronts and some shops and some warehouses. And if you make your way inside the Colosseum, you will find a multi-use area currently being used to breed, store, and trade with some villagers. If you guys have any other ideas for how we should use this Colosseum, start a server, start a realm, anything fun, let me know in the comments below. From here, we'll walk around and take a look at some miscellaneous buildings until we end up in the town square. Here is a cute little well. And this is a building that I started and haven't gotten around to yet. Here we have another road that leads down to the docks. But if we continue this way, we'll find ourselves in the town square. This is another one of my favorite areas because it feels very lived in, it feels alive, there's just a lot of detail going on with another small well over here and a cart over on this side. We have a few different houses which look to be small homes of different people. In here we have a little workshop area, smithing area, and all of it culminates here with this stone church build. And as you come in, you'll see some more stained glass windows with some nice views of the dock and the ocean, as well as some lecterns with some books in them, all of which contribute to the feeling that this is a lived-in space. From here, we'll make our way back to the main street of the village, which has some of my favorite sightlines to the ocean and the dock, which we will take a peek at later. For now, we'll take a look at these two big buildings that are parallel from each other, both of which are just more villager housing. Before checking out the dock, however, we will continue down this way to check out the quarry. As you can see, there are two large buildings sitting on the quarry's edge, both of which at some point I would like to build cranes off of these patios, which will look like they are carrying stone out of the quarry. But this quarry is our access point into the mines. So if you come down here and make your way all the way down to this cave, you will find the area where I have sourced many materials for the village. And now it's time to check out one of my favorite focal points of the village that, in my opinion, ties everything together and creates a lot of the sight lines that, in my opinion, make this build stand out from others. Let's take a walk down to the docks. We'll follow this road here and pass another couple of miscellaneous buildings that don't necessarily serve any purposes. If you want to take a quick check on the inside, we have some storefront areas that need to be detailed. But we can take a look at the dock, which is fully detailed. So this dock has two levels. The upper one is made out of stone with some andesite detailing. We've got some walls around the edges and some greenery, some barrels, crafting stations, chests, etc., which all culminates in a custom jungle sailboat, which I'm very proud of as well. We've got a little upper section, upper deck, and we've even got a little cabin down below. From here, we'll backtrack a bit and make our way down to the lower level of the dock, which is made out of spruce, slabs, and jungle logs. I love this lower section because it gives access to normal Minecraft boats. But over here, we have another custom dinghy that I made out of oak, which I'm super proud of. I think it's super cute, and it just fits this area super well. So as you can see, the docks are a major focal point for the entire village because they're the first thing you see when you arrive, and they're designed to pull your eye upward and create the lines of sight towards the village and the castle that really separate this whole base, this whole village from others. If you notice, the pathways, the angles, even the height of the buildings all guide your view inland, so the village immediately feels connected to the water, and it works both ways. You can see the docks and the boats from the village and the castle, which makes the whole place feel active and not static. But I think we've spent enough time looking at this castle from afar, and it's finally time to take a closer look. So we'll start by climbing this winding road up to the entrance of the castle. But before we go in, we'll do a quick spin and take a look of the view of the village from here. It looks pretty good, but I think we've got some even better lines of sight to take a look at. So let's make our way through the entrance. Straight ahead, there is a small structure that has a cactus farm inside of it. And to our right, there are two other structures that will eventually be used to house villagers. I also really like how the entrance on the opposite side of the courtyard turned out with this abstract arch and the building that sits on top of it connecting two watchtowers. As you may or may not be able to tell, this castle was constructed in a couple different phases. The first phase was the outer wall, and the second phase was filling everything inside of it. Before we take a closer look, why don't we climb this ladder and take another look at the village from atop this watchtower. And while we're at it, we can say hello to our head of security, Sir Pinkston. Sir Pinkston loves watching over the village and making sure that everyone is safe. So I appreciate that very much. Okay, now let's jump down and walk over to the other side of the castle. As we follow this path along the wall, we'll pass by a couple more watchtowers and a couple more buildings that'll be used for storing villagers. As we approach the far side of the castle, we'll see another set of watchtowers with a large arch, which leads out to our nether portal. But before taking a look at that, we'll round the corner and take a look inside the castle. Now, this castle tells an interesting tale. What you see on the outside is actually attempt number 2. My first attempt at building the interior part of this castle turned out like this. It's pretty cool, but it wasn't the vibe I was going for. It just wasn't the right scale, it wasn't the right style, and it sort of looked like Hogwarts or some school or haunted mansion rather than a castle. And I really didn't know what to do. I didn't want to tear it down because it was a lot of work, but it wasn't right. And what I eventually decided on was just building on top of it, building around it. And I still haven't gotten around to doing the interior. And sort of like the Vine Farm, I kind of like the idea of leaving it here as a memento, as a lesson, as a reminder. So I think I'm going to leave it like this for now. But in the future, who knows? We'll see. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, while this interior might not be finished, this castle does hold a couple more secrets. So let's make our way out of the castle and through the arch to behold another one of my favorite builds, my nether portal. I went with a sword design because I wanted it to feel dangerous to enter the nether, and I think that came across. But what might surprise you is that my favorite part of this build is the floor we're standing on right now. Because while it might look like a floor, it's actually a roof. That's right, we're standing on top of an XP farm right now. Let me show you where it leads to. If we head back over to the watchtower and drop down into the entrance, we'll find ourselves in a dungeon with a killing chamber and storage for all mob drops that we could possibly need. This is where I get all of the gunpowder that I use to sustain my rocket supply. So let's put some of that gunpowder to use, make some rockets, fly around, and take in some of the sights, some of the views, and all of the work that went into this ultimate survival village. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will leave you here at what is the best line of sight in the entire build from atop this specific watchtower right here. You get a view of everything. I love it. It's my favorite. Thank you so much for watching, and please remember to like, to subscribe, and to ding dong that bell.